So go your way, are you ready for your trouble? So go your way, are you ready for your trouble? So go your way, so go your way, are you ready for your trouble? So go your way, start to your better. I give you that way, so go your way, so go your way. Never let that way, so go your way, so go your way. Say your way. Say your way.
Welcome, welcome. Well, we want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. Thank you so much. This is the song that introduces the program traditionally. I'm not like the laborer who is a granular Congolese. No, I am the real traditionalist. And this is why when we come here, we showcase what is the good part of Liberia. Mr. Wu, Samuel Woo's welcome. Maxwell Nyimpan, good to have you. Veronica, good to have you here. If this is the first time, Micah, we say you are wholeheartedly welcome. The scholar himself, the man, the only joy he wants us, Zaza Kawajo. The man woman lose English. They stole a car battery, then you want his job. Sese Goya is based in Minneapolis. Is a senior contributor of the Liberia Public Radio. It's good to have you here. MD Salam, it's good to have you here. Indomitable to Ruben. My goodness. And SD Skawa, what thing? Okay. If I don't call it right, just forgive me. Mr. Command, Bapu Command, good to have you here. Angel Brown, good to have you here. Nathaniel Gay. Is this my number Gay from now in Colorado? Okay, Bob Solo, it's good to have you here. A Winland Walker. It's a pleasure having you here on the Diaspora Informative Network. And our own man Amadou is also here. Tilly Fatu is our prime time. Good evening, Fatu. Thank you so much for those best wishes. It's always good. Well, we don't see you here. Then we feel sick, but it's good that you are here. Hope everything is going okay as well. Daniel, Elotius, and all of you great folks, we say welcome. This is the Diaspora Informative News Magazine, Liberia Public Radio. And am I here tonight? I am your host, your liberty, the liberty that was seized by the Liberal Progressive and his newly recruited analyst here on this network, Jerry Bacon. Dr. Mali Jones and myself will continue to be here to make sure that the right thing is done. Tangazia, good to have you here. You coming to declare us? Oh my God, why you coming to declare us? There, I say you're declaring you can't publish anything here. We're tired of reading papers. It's not going to help us. Okay, the analysts are here already assembling, and we're going to get this conversation here going. So all of you liberties that were seized by the Liberal Progressive with his counterpart, Mr. Jared Bacon, tell me your liberty will be restored here this evening. Tell phone calls, no phone going to be dying on purpose. This is what the liberals, this is what he's good at. As long as you do not say it his way, trust me. Welcome. It's 8:10 Eastern Standard Time. Welcome to the show. This is the program that introduces, this is the radio that introduces the program. This is all things considered. Your voice, and each and everyone, the analyst, does matter. But remember, let's do it in a safer context. Welcome to the show. I am Afonso Zienso. Welcome to the show. I'm Afonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. I'm spending the evening in the overall office in the Republic of Liberia. Who knows, probably my name might be called anytime, but I'm not sure. There's nothing guaranteed because even with the call your name, there's a tendency that you are rejected because they have to verify what's going on. We have no idea. Notwithstanding, I place myself right here in the overall office here this evening. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners across the globe. I am your host, and Lee Ango here in tonight's editions of All Things Considered. All Things Considered comes your way every Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the East Coast. To all of our viewers and listeners across the globe, we say good evening, good afternoon, good morning, depending on your location. Just hit the share button for us this event and invite someone at your company. And I guarantee you, the civil liberties will be restored here this evening. The liberal is not in charge. The liberal he's doing everything possibly he can, and so he's on a recruiting spree to bring people here to liberalize this network and sanction voices. And this is why Dr. Mali Jones, we will counteract them. He doesn't like people to speak their mind, to express their views, their opinion. This is how we raise our own alligators, and when they become a full-grown alligator, then we see what happens. And he who rides the back of an alligator eventually enters the belly of the alligator. We will not allow the liberal and his co-conspirators to do whatever they can do here. Sadly, he also, like the saying goes, there's no baboon for a child. So he has this huge fans, supporters. I was shocked and great dismay during my recent visit in Minnesota. It looked like the Minnesotans, I thought it's a Democrat, but more or less, the liberal does have a base there. But we will stand up. People do not like people who stand for principle. And this is why you always see, I'm involved. He does not want to take responsibility. So he always in that game of political correctness to stand somewhere, not taking a position so that when things goes wrong, he will come back and give justifications of his action. Like in the case of our politician. The last few days, you've been saying how he has treated me on this network, what he did to Mali Jones last night, been facilitated by his guy, Jerry Bacon. And all of the meetings, hours, time been allotted. And then when he ready, he tell us he's in charge, exercising authority. That sort of dictatorial process. That's what he tried to bring to this network. But we're not going to pay back. We know how long it takes to get people to this convincing point. I'm going to bring his patron here. He's not saying in her hair to lay the groundwork for him. Jerry Bacon's A's, LPR security analyst based here in my own Ocean State, next within my proximity, as a matter of fact. But all his phone calls now flying over me, going to Sacramento, California, to the liberal progressive. Notwithstanding, we intend not to leave no one behind. Jerry Bacon is joining me here. Let me just bring in here this evening and see what happened. Mr. Bacon is here. Good evening to Mr. Bacon. Welcome.
How you doing, sir? I'm doing good. The one thing is raining in the Ocean State, so keep myself warm.
All right, keep yourself warm. I don't care how you polish here this evening. There's nothing guaranteed that I'm going to be nice to you. You were part of what the liberal was doing. You did not speak out. So I know it is raining here. I just drove from Massachusetts to get to what I am right now. So it doesn't matter. We're going to do it. But I'm going to give you a fair share, as a matter of fact, to always speak your mind. We do not sanction voices. We always allow people to speak their mind, even if there's a different political views. Okay, here comes another Minnesota politician now who is on a different path. I'm not sure what is going on. Let me bring in the scholar himself, Sissy Goya. He went on the first campaign and that was successful, change agent from Sanction Avenue to whatever thing. I don't know what's going to be displaying here again this evening. But let me go to Minneapolis, Minnesota, where Sissy Goya is standing by. Is a senior political analyst of the Liberal Public Radio and LPR-TV, senior access analyst.
I want to declare my asset, but the people, they got to value my open tea for and see how much it worth, because everybody declare everything now. So even if
is there a new faction now? People telling people to declare, they can't properly. Then when we ask and they say, you go to the court. What kind of business is this?
You know, in Lebron now, we can just call any number one call. You see Representative DJ Blue say there are over 500,000 motorbike riders. Jay Muscle Rallo alone. I say they paid full of all kinds of The minute you quite a number come to her. So me, my normal day beauty, the open tea, I can value if I declare my asset.
I remember those days when you get open tea, you know, everything, nothing, even when people die say they want to display the smile. They say, oh,
Hey, my brother Jerry, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good, man. How's it going?
okay. Guys, good evening. Today is Wednesday. It's a wet day here in the East Coast, as alluded by my own friend and brother, Mr. Bacon here. He tried to play nice to me here this evening, but I'm not sure. I'm not going to buy into that. But we're going to see what happens. Eventually, in the middle of this conversation, anything could possibly change. But when his guys show up here, I told him I'm Israeli. When you hit me, I will slam you. Okay, guys, good evening. Good to have all of you here this evening. Thank you for your commitment, not only just to this network, but to the country overall. I think this is our task, though. You come from screaming, children, teaching, working, all of those quadratics, this, that, and all of that, and to come sit down here and deal with people that are liberal and kettle on the other end who can show face, and you have people that breakable power. I mean, it's just a complete disaster. But we managed to pull it
out. Really started with me already, but I show facing out there.
No, but breakable is my guy. You know, he's a diehard sedition. I like to see him starting his talking point to get that sort of attraction. When you see him say, look, it means he wants to get your full attention. But we're going to wait and see how far this battery here, whether it's a solar or some sort of long time ever ready battery, where when ready, it just busts and then everything's good. But we're going to wait and see where that stimulation is coming from. Guys, good evening. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to do as usual here, all things considered. A lot has been happening inside Liberia to right around all people declaring outside, budget days, going on cabinet meeting, and all kinds. I mean, it's just the cyberspace and both electronics and print media is just saturated with all sorts of things. But something I drew my attention to, the new democratic change, the new political dispensations in Senegal. I'm quite sure you're been monitoring. And the youngest president who just came from jail 10 days and won it over a big landslide, taking on some radical reform. That is quite fascinating. We're going to see what happens. But let me not let the cat out of the bag here. Let's go to Mr. Bacon right here in the city of Poteke. All things considered, where is your Tabata leading all this evening?
There's no Tabata today. We're not talking no FTR. Then it will be straight to the point.
Oh, it's not guaranteed. Come on.
You know, so, you know, something happened.
Tell us.
You know, after the program last night.
You got a phone call?
No. And
you go on the machine, maybe my man need that, so I don't know how to play nice.
No. I replayed the program. You know, I listened to myself. And there are things that happen. And I want to, you know, when we hear, probably sometimes we don't look at ourselves. Maybe I might be wrong, but let me put it in a different form. People value our opinion. What we say here, people value our opinion. You know, when Joe yet and there, but people value our opinion, and people look up to us to make some sound decisions that will affect Liberia.
Oh,
you know, so they value our opinion, and what we say here, it make an impact into our society, our birthplace, Liberia, Mama Liberia, and abroad. So I think to myself, after I went through the whole program and I listened to us, and I said to myself,
you listen to yourself, you mean?
Yeah, of course I do.
And tell us
I listen to the replay of the program. I listen to the whole program.
And that's what I do. I always go back. It can be a good learning process. But make a true confession here. What did you capture?
No, I'm not. No, you're not a father. You're not a reverend. So why would I come make a true confession here?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Not confession, but what? Okay, tell us.
But yes. What I'm going to.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to the mother this evening. I know it's midnight in Liberia. Maybe people still listen to it. The thing that they're hurting their feelings in Liberia. Thing that they are concerned about. A mother, a father, a child, or a little child who is coming up, who lost hope, no future. The Liberian dream. Where is the Liberian dream that got me here today? These are the issues that concern me. I think that was I'm going to be discussing on the platform. So, take for example, a little child who is using herself to survive, especially females who is using herself to survive to support her family. A man who sell my mother soul pounded, banana, plantain, potato green for me to be able to get my education today. These are the models I want to be talking about. These are the table talk, what they talk in the home. Children who don't have hope again, who are delinquent, juveniles, that we talk about the Zogo. Some of them have lost hope. So these are the people. After I listened to the program last night,
So
I come in, sir. Let me learn.
I don't want to be in flight for the long years. I gotta learn. This is not a laborer here. This is not the laborer conducting here. So you gotta make wise of your time. Let me just tell you off right now.
So these are the things I want to talk about. Our fellow Liberia teachers who are exploiting. Oh, come on, turn the other. Teachers who have not gotten paid, who working hard. Some of them have credibility, and some of them have issues. Who selling the pamphlet to students who cannot even afford to buy the pamphlet? Police officer who cannot even afford their own uniform. The government used to supply their uniform. They can't even. So these are the issues that are affecting the future of our nation. And we always talk about corruption. Let me say this. In fact, here's the thing I talked about today. Look, I come in. 1 second. These are the issues that have been written about. Here's some from my article in the newspaper. You see it? Can you see it? Yeah. Can you see it? These are the issues that I've been advocating when I used to write, and I still writing. You see that? What is it? Liberia classification of organized crime and corruption in Liberia. Can you give me one camera? Okay. Can you see it? I got more newspaper here. I brought about almost 20. I brought about 20 newspaper. Y'all all the newspaper here. I will bring it.
Okay.
These are the issues I think that will.
Jerry Bacon. Don't let me stop.
No.
Hold on one second. No, that's your topic here. I told you it's not a laborer in charge. So there's a complete different style and way of doing things here. I'm not going to go into intro in the endless intro here. You can't bring like Port breaking up sort of writing style. That's not what I'm interested in. You listen to that video, something did not sound right, which of course I guess you took a deep breath and you purpose to come here this evening to speak something that you capture. You're not getting to you making the salad here for us. I don't eat salad. I'm a pure crown man. Salad, I'm not a vegetarian and all of those kind of things. Tell us what you got from there. Confess. Let's turn this camera off.
No. I just told you, you're not a father, you're not a priest, you're not a reverend. So why would I want to come and confess to you? I'm just telling you. This is what I process. I listened to this after I rewound the show last night, and I saw something that these are the issues that I'll be talking about.
Okay, thank you.
To say, and that's what I want to be talking about.
we'll go into that. Let's see what you're going to say, and we will hold you responsible. Okay, Cesar Goyot, let's start. Jerry start with his Tabata already. I made that prediction, and my prediction could be correct, but we're going to go into his talking point. Let's hear you, senior asset analyst. What the heck is that?
You're in trouble. Okay. I begin Terry Lord.
Why are you always teaching? You always teaching. We don't even know what to do. What title to do?
The country by fire by force. We have to be strategic in the things we pick, and then we make sure we resolve them. We move on. You see, we pick MCSS. We're finished with MCSS. Oh my God. We're moving on. Papa sounds too stubborn. Me, I want a nation coward. He said, "Get give it." So the other front part, I leave it small, but we're moving on to other things. Look, all joke aside, Mr. Bacon said something about, children who are selling themselves in schools. And I know all your newspaper that are from way by or in Liberia now, we're not rapping or in something like roasted cassava, but I thank God you still giving it.
You get some great articles.
Yes. Okay, so what I wanted to say is that on the issues that Mr. Bacon spoke is the reason I got an analyst, senior asset analyst piece. The former president, Dr. George Manuel, declared his asset recently, and there's a lot of hullabaloo in the place about what he wrote, what he didn't write. You should have the Liberian government. Or Liberian people should have the way of appraising things. It's left to me to say my open teeth because it's in my mouth, and I am a director of math in Minneapolis. It's worth more than an open teeth in somebody's mouth way in slow that don't know English, right? It's left with the people to be able to analyze analytically. And say, yes, it's worth that, it's not worth that. It's not upon the former president to say my Ballon d'Or is worth $3. He can say it's worth $30 million. We have to have an appraisal system. But the fact that we lack minimum elementary analytical idea and method of thinking, people running around, the president said, the former president said it's worth it, so it's worth it. Well, the man has said what it's worth. It's left with you to appraise it and show us what appraisal measure you use.
You ain't worried about that when they're not even going to buy it.
But for me, I think we got to get over this thing where we've allowed our intellectual space to be occupied by, I used to call them intellectuals because it was just course whole day. But now is by intellectual malams. The people I can give you, I can send you all the favorite request that will make you reach those malams. These are the intellectual malams we have now. The intellectual ability is worth as much as sounds like our Gucci costumes. It's worth nothing. And so for me, I agree with my brother, Mr. Bacon, that what for me, what's on my plate is we said we're going to deliver this country. We said we're going to rescue this country. We cannot keep saying George Weah people did it, so we got to do it too. Then what was the reason of you saying we should kick George Weah out? It's the same thing I kept telling the CDC over and over. Every time they say Ellen did it, I said, then why did we remove that government from you? So we got to get past that. And for me, my piece is about education. Because I think all of this boils down to education. The education our people have, the standard of education we give our people determines their ability to be analytical or not. And so, I've spent, and I'm going to say this, I'm going to be open. You know me, I'm open. I spent about 3 hours today with the new superintendent of MCSS on the phone. We talked, and I told him what I'd expect, and he told me what his dreams are. And I remember I never went to MCSS. I never went to an MCSS school.
You missed the best part.
It wasn't because I was rich. It was just because my mom and my dad made it a point that they were going to say, Bella boy, and my dad were going to do whatever he can. I was going to go to Catholic school, even though they kept kicking us out of school for tuition. But I grew up right behind Tommy House fence. And MCSS, yeah, MCSS is very personal for me. Because I remember back in the day when the country people children came from Lofa, came from Bong, came from Nimba, the only chance they had of achieving education was MCSS. MCSS was where the poor people children went. And by God, there was some talents that came out of MCSS. Yeah. And so for me, my work is to ensure that the public school system in Liberia has to be brought to be second to none. The private school system has to be beneath the public school system when it comes to quality. That is my life work in this new government, and by fire or by force, we'll make them to change that.
We'll make them to change. Let's go to Minneapolis, Minnesota. Terry Collins, the patron of the Liberal Progressive, is a senior political analyst. Let's hear him. Terry, you listen to Bacon, you listen to Sissy Goyo. Let's hear you. Where's your focus? Where your focus will be directed this evening? What's your concern?
Yeah, I actually did not get Mr. Bacon on his rewash and clarity that he wanted to make on the issue. But I myself too wanted to reveal something I said yesterday concerning the Kush drug. You know, that many people say that Kush did not come during President Weah's time. But from the DW or news outlet, it says here that Kush, the drug killing West African youth, by Claudia Antonin and Karim Kamara. The first, January 13, 2023, reported this. Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Liberia are grappling with an increasing number of young people becoming addicted to a substance known as Kush or K2. Abuse of the drug has already killed several people in the region. It's a substance rolled up and smoked like a cigarette or cannabis, but the illegal synthetic drug known as Kush is not to be mistaken with the synonymous marijuana strain. Rising cases in Sierra Leone and Guinea have shown that the drug is dangerous. After a few puffs, the consumer is left stunned, unable to stand upright. Yet, despite the after effects, which include falling, body injuries, and loss of self-esteem, users still search for an opportunity to obtain more. Now, this is the Kush drug, and they're giving you, they're trying to tell us that they have finally discovered the newness of the rising of a new drug called Kush. So all during early time, that means Kush was never in existence. So which means that drug was never in existence. Now in 2023, even though it was in Liberia, maybe in the third or fourth year of President Weah, in 2023, that was when journalists then start to formally get their data together to present to the world that in West Africa, there is a drug now that have been unraveled by the name of Kush. And then they begin to outline to us how it makes you feel. So when I said that it was during President Weah's time that Kush was introduced, I was not wrong. And that is why I like to pull all these things so that we can go back to fast check. So somebody can kind of say, oh, you know, the man is saying this, that. Another thing on my agenda, even though Mr. Mali is not here, I wanted to talk about Ambassador Boka's statements that he made in regards to the rehabilitation program and all of that, you know, but I'm not going to talk about it because he's not here. I want to also look at their, you know, we want to also look at their,
Who brought him in?
Yeah. So, and all of that. So we also want to look at, but I made a mistake before I go into what I wanted to say. I wanted to say happy Wednesday to the panel. I didn't do that. That was very rude. So to my senior brother Sissy and to Mr. So, I know you celebrated your birthday yesterday. Again, we want to say congratulations on your new age. Libra and Mr. Bacon, Harley I feel good to be in your midst. However, I wanted to also look at the 40,000 civil servants that are allegedly, or that they are prospected to be taken off the payroll. It's a prospect that they might likely be taken off the payroll. And I think that the way in which the government is doing it is precise. For me, I want to say that in the order that the government have chosen to deal with the matter, I think it will be precise. Instead of just coming one morning and saying, 40,000 people named on the payroll, so let's just get rid of every one of them. You understand, eh? Let's just get rid of every one of them. So that is not going to happen. The government is telling them now that you guys need to go back and get your documents straight and return, and give us, if you went through the right procedure or the right requirement to become a civil servant, obviously you will be granted the access to be civil servants. But if you did not go through the reputable criteria to become civil servant, definitely we cannot keep you in the system. That is a professional way to deal with the matter. And I want to appreciate the government for that approach.
Okay, so the house seems to be crowded this evening. We're going to be straight to the point. As you know, Terry, I know you wish me a happy birthday, repeating yourself here. I'm not sure whether that's going to get you, going to be like a safe haven for you. So
I'm trying to buy leverage.
Well, I'm not sure that. Hey, Dr. Jones, good evening. Welcome. Your civil liberties is hereby restored. All of those disruption, interceptions that occurred yesterday, I do sincerely apologize. But the tolerance, your independent mind that continue to exist on this network, objectivity, straight to the point. Trust me, to receive a call from a higher up, and now we're going to see what happened. The Liberal, good evening, welcome. You better make
our year before Dr. June, you didn't recognize me, and you recognize Dr. June, and now you're going to recognize me.
I am in charge. Thank you. It is within my purview to call people in the order that I wish I can call.
Okay.
Good evening. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. We're here as a counterweight. We will try now. From this point on, let me just say to all of the panelists, we will engage respectfully. And please, Mr. Goyer specifically, I want you to challenge my intellectual property, whatever it is, because I respect that and I like that. I don't want you to, if I say something like usual, come hard. Because when you do that, you haven't been doing it lately, and perhaps I'm being lazy now. Do that, push it all the way to the limit. And we're also here to make sure that anybody come out here and bring some statement that perhaps we're ready to challenge. There ain't no hold bar. This is the intellectual platform, and we're here to engage.
You and Terry are making Chemlen the other day. I don't want people like your Chemlen, I can challenge nobody this time.
Yeah, the Papa here, every evening he must manufacture some sort of drama. He wants to be friends with you now. So, you know what he did to Terry? He looked at Terry because Terry was speaking his honest mind. He said that his enemy. Can you imagine? So when you start
that talk, yeah, no, I don't want to come here again.
My goodness. this conversation tonight is going to be like it's going to be a ziggy. Okay, Dr. Jones.
Yes, sir.
Good evening. Oh, what did I do here? This is, I'm going to bring that. I'm sorry. Good evening. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. My greetings to all the panelists, the laborer, Mr. Barkham, and the man who just, the two guys who just went on professional sabbatical. You are welcome, and Collins. And we hope to welcome you again by fire, by storm. The thing becoming real now because the former superintendent is gone.
The way you now get to answer business, I don't know who's going to be the next person.
Yeah, so I have two things on my plate tonight. And I think some of them are within the purview and the playbook of Mr. Barkham, looking at so many issues. But I know our country have got multiple issues. I mean, multiple. I don't know which segment of Liberia is good right now. Maybe someone can educate me on that, but I don't think so. Everywhere has got problem. Yes. So my two things I'll be addressing tonight is the history of the Zongos. The Zongo did not come from heaven. There's a history to, there's a journey where they began their journey. Probably they have been reclassified either from rebel to Zongo, but it came from somewhere. And I will want to get into that tonight. Yes, and secondly, I will also want to get into commending His Excellency President Joseph Boakai on very two important issues. One of them, the cut he did in the Ministry of State, in his own budget, his vice president budget, and I will be analyzing what they did with that money. But I want to give him my flower for what I saw in the Friday edition of the Daily Observer last week. So those are the things I will be addressing here.
All right, good. Let me go to the far right side, Atlanta, Georgia, where Amos George is standing by. This is a crowded house, so I anticipate we'll be succinct in our analysis so that we will have the opportunity to have everyone to speak. A good thing the Labour is not in charge, so people's voice is going to be heard tonight. No phone going to die supernatural death. Battery is not going to run out and all of that. So Amos George, let's hear you.
Good evening, Samson Brokuto. Good evening, Mr. Ba.
Thank you.
Mr. Dr. Jones, Professor Cecil Goya, and the Reverend Collins.
Where you come from with the other one? Oh, the woman I didn't know where for
Walker. No, that the Reverend Collins, not Walker. That one used to do 24 crate of beer.
Okay, let's hear you.
Look, what's on my plate? I got a couple of things on my plate. The eviction of the people back around the Cali Hospital area today, and the 40,000, what do you call it? Supplementary employees of the Liberian government. And there's a story in the Observer, but I don't know people picking it up. The HR of SR Matter started $15,000 plus from some citizen to give them job, US dollar. Asking them to pay $400 each to have them employed with SR Matter. So those individuals now, they say they have been sent to court for prosecution. Well, those are the things I'm looking at today on my plate.
Okay. The dinner for this evening here is Creole Mercy Obi Pasma. I hope you guys get something after the program to take to wash the belly away. Okay, guys, thank you so much. But quickly, now we're going to jump to the conversation here. My attention has been drawn in Senegal, as you know, the recent election, and brought into one of the youngest president that is elected, President Bassirou Diomaye Faye, age 44. is taking on some radical, really radical change here. And interestingly, I think despite of his huge victory, I think he built in some sort of political consolidation. And just imagine after his induction, someone who was a big opposition to him and brought that person to have that person as a prime minister. Oh, I want to Samuel Doe, Helen Johnson Sirleaf, who is the Bamangbo concomitant Sawyer now Ambassador Joseph Newman Boyka. What are opposition, somebody you that contest, and just imagine after 10 days for NJ, man just came for NJ, and you want a big landslide. And what he's doing now, taking some, and he's a left-wing pan-Africanist. He said he's going to be taking some radical change, institute a complete comprehensive audit. And I think that was very strategic. Mike places where he knows that resources coming from, because he said he was elected by the people, and the people should have access to those natural resources. So he jumped to the gas industry, the oil industry, and all of that. That's what is going on. Strictly no joke. Okay, let's have a conversation.
That is a praise song for all politicians in Africa.
Oh, Terry. Oh, Terry. Oh, Terry. Okay, whatever.
Bringing in his opposition could be a downfall.
No, but that guy supported him also. He supported him.
So,
okay.
I
don't know the intricacies around him.
Eric, why you always think that governance is a zero-sum game?
Yeah, he supported him. He supported him too. But the guy was the strong opposition to the ruling party. So I don't know. You think
the way your people and you go in a race, when you're beating them, then you're still the man already dying, running, then you grab them and put them in jail. That's a solution. You create unnecessary political hype. I told you be distant from this liberal here, because he is corrupting your good political mind.
Well, Mr. So, I'll just give him my own a little small thing and chunking it inside, because
I mean, that's how I feel. That I feel the liberal has somehow contaminated some of the group, and then he has added Jerry back on him. So I know it's going to be a tough thing, but we will manage to get away. Okay, guys, let's get to the point here quickly. I just thought that it was a good exercise, and there was a beautiful trend over ceremony as well. I saw the guys to do it and man say, yeah, your palace here, and that was 8. But I just feel that's another way to stabilize political tension in the country. What is done in faith, but at least the start off is good. That's how you do it. There's a way you can kill slowly. Just put it in the bag and shove the hay in the bucket. You don't got to take it down to the riverside. By the time that water going in there, it knows it die. So you don't have to arrest him and put them in jail. Bring them on board. And that's how you cut through the gap of even the opposition as well. Let's have the conversation here greatly. Jerry Bacon, let's start with you, and let's be succinct, strictly to the point, so that analysts will have the opportunity to tap in as well, and they will be able to discuss here. Why are those issues so important? There are so many that you outline here, but let me give you a preference to make a 2-pick here out of that 2 priorities. And I'm not saying the other rest are not important, but we are in a full house, so that each and everyone will be able to make a tap into that as well, and give them a chance to discuss. What are those 2?
Let me take the thing. Let me just
Madam Marie Snangout, good to have you here this evening. Yeah, let's go.
There's an article that I wrote. I'm not going to bore you people tonight. Call it domestic violence in Liberia. It's right here. It's right here. See, in order for us to survive in our society, there are issues that we need to address, especially when it comes to domestic violence in our community, with our children in the community in our homes. And like my brother said, he went to a public school, private school, and some of us were fortunate to go to Maria Consolidated School. When I came from B and W to go to school, I grew already in West in Point 4. I went to Todman Elementary School. From there to Newport Junior High to Charitable Memorial Academy. But look, even for any government to survive in our society, these are the issues we need to start tackling. Look, the campaign is over. It's time to govern. These are issues that we need to address in the government. It is not about pointing finger at George Weah. It is not about time to point fingers at Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, but these are the issues. That's the bread issue that people discuss and on their table in the evening. And it also is a burden on the government. Domestic violence. Domestic violence. Why cause domestic violence? Yes, a man who is unemployed. He went out there, carried late college. He's not professional. He came home with $5 in his pocket. He gave it to his wife flip out. Oh, you went out there today. You brought $5. Children observing their mother being beaten. So these are the issues some of you are passionate and we're going to be talking about on the platform. And it also is a burden on the national government. Because that child, I call it poverty recycling. Because if that child grew up in a house, she or he see her mom or father being abusive, guess what? They themselves, psychologists say, you're more likely to be repeated. So it is time for us to start thinking, how do we address it in our country? But most of the things have been swept under the rug. We don't address the issues. So why can't administration, I would appeal to every one of them. These are issues that will affect the economy. It will affect our population, our youth that are going to school. Some of we are here today because there was a discipline, where discipline was not an abuse. Maybe you sometimes we always use the word discipline. Discipline is a form of correction. It's not a corporal punishment.
So quickly, let's take a spin so that everybody can tap into it. Let's see, he outlined his point here. If we can use at least a minute each to make your input, and if it is a priority, what should government do? I mean, part of our conversation is always to put forward solution as well. So let's start with the liberal.
Yeah, Mr. So I think it's a very good topic. We support women rights to be who they are. The reason why I'm laughing, my daughter's sitting right across there, and I just give you an example. And she's getting ready to go to college, but she's on her school board. I'm not too sure whether it's a student board, whatever they call it, but she's there specifically.
Student representative.
Okay, but she's there specifically to represent the interest of the student. And so whenever they have stuff downtown that have to do with students and other activities, she's always there. In fact, she's most of the time in the paper. But the point is, about a year or so ago, she was on this LPR program, did her own show, where she was able to gather some information about girls being abused in Liberia. And she did a whole hour show here by herself. Of course, I was on the side, but I was very impressed. So for me, women rights and you know, whatever comes with it, it's not a strange thing for me. However, I also can say that when my mom and my dad got here in the United States, my dad would tell my mom when they're getting ready to go to church, he would say, get in front of me. One time you not see woman walk behind man. I the man I walk behind you, you in front of me. And then my ex-wife at the time was said, that's not how they treat people in America. And he would tend to her that I would wait total to stay out of it. So I have seen both sides of it. So, but on a very serious note, of course, what I'm saying right now, they really happen. You know, and my mom will walk in front, even if Angie would say, no, you don't do that. And she would say, that's how it's done. So I've seen both sides of it. So, but the young people nowadays need to really step up, because the education part of a girl, to get girls to be understandable in the society, is very important. It's very important, because without their cooperation, even here in the United States, the little Liberian community organization, the women are the backbone. Without the women, the organization, they're nothing. The men are the corrupt people in many of these organizations. So the women are there to support, and their supporting system is much. So whatever we can do, Jerry, I agree with you. Whatever it is, the domestic violence, the government need to find out how they can curtail that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to keep track of your time here. Be mindful of your time here tonight. You went over your time, and there will be a deduction in that time in your second phase when you read the conversation. Let me just tell you right now. So, yeah. Then you do to me.
You know hot water tonight.
Well, whatever it is. No, but I think it's necessary, you know, this sort of conversation to have it, because all of the time we more or less political, and we do not tend to find solutions to these problems that are happening. And these social problems also creating have a problem. Let me bring in Dr. Jones. Dr. Jones can give more or less independent thought and an analysis on this issue, because he have nothing to fear. He's not for, he's not against. We are not a resistant force against the government, for the government, and all of that. But we give objective analysis as compared to the other three who are always on the other side of the story. So, Dr. Jones, the society is a complex one, and there are a lot of variables, there are a lot of things, and but I think Jerry brought in something very interesting, because all of these things does impact how society tends to direct its citizens, its people, and how things run. Now, what should government be doing? Are we not investing much? Are we not having the expertise, the counselors, the how you call them, whatever, in schools, or is it? I mean, there are so many factors. You know, the war came, everybody mind. A lot of people, where most people are being read by their parent, and even if that happens, the society out there now is contaminated. How can we overcome this stuff here? What should government be doing?
Well, I think first I want to thank Mr. Barcon, because there is no way any of us can dissociate ourselves with what he just put on this platform tonight, because directly or indirectly, some of our people, our parents, our children back home, friends, they all are sufferers of some of these things. But what is conspicuously absent from Mr. Barker's analysis, while we try to seek solution or resolution to this type of thing, that domestic violence or all lot of stuff, is first of all addressing the root cause. There is a root cause here. If we just jump over the root cause of why these things are happening, I doubt it we are going to find a solution. And the root cause of the thing is the 16-year civil war that put into perspective child soldiers. Such child soldiers were brought into this thing, and today, whether their issue were addressed within child status 6 years, I don't know. Whether it was addressed by Unity Party Part 1, 12 years, these are the analysis that we must first of all address if we want to find answer to these things. I yield.
Okay. You see, strictly to the point, work within the time frame of the meaning allotted. Dr. Jones, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. And I hope other panelists will pick you from my short and substance.
They are more or less too
You
long.
people must say, now I'm kind of rude now. Let me just tell you right now.
They are
You
too
people
long.
must say that your consulting
long.
thing you're doing. You people must say, no, now I'm kind of rule. So you just know that.
Samson told you, you're not above the law.
CEO, I'm sorry that this rule put in place when the sabbatical returns. So I don't know how they're going to cope.
I don't know how to manage that because they don't have the gamble. They better flow with me. Other than that, they have themselves to blame. Who's the care first? Let them wear it. So, Terry, and I think I wouldn't be surprised, and not to get you on the part, I think you might have hit the religious side of it as well, the outbreaking and all of this thing, coupled with what society has done, politicians, stakeholders. What is missing to? What is the missing part in this whole thing?
Well, Mr. So, there are a lot of things missing, and I don't want to put it on a wall. There are other countries who fought war, but they're not having those same things. America went through the worst crisis ever, the crisis of racism, marginalization. They got African Americans that were slaves and all of that. What I think here is happening is cultural differences. Cultural differences. It is a culture in Liberia for a man to feel that his headship over a woman or in the family is expressed through his aggression. He is looked at to be the head because he's aggressive. So it is a mentality syndrome. It's more or less psychological than it is when it comes to medical or something that you need to look for some means to find a way out. All right, we got a good society. We got culture that allow us, the men, to dominate the women and dominate the kids, thereby not giving our children the rights to be able to express themselves when they are wrong. I mean, when you are wrong. We got a policy, a culture that says when your elders are wrong, you're supposed to take the blame. All right? So if you fail to take the blame, you are liable to be abused any kind of way. And you should take it. And we call that respect. So the problem with this is culture. So in order for us to change this trajectory, that means that we have to be relinquishing the culture, or we have to edit the culture and address parts of the culture that we see that are not healthy for our society, and then we can amend the culture to be able to fit in the perspective we want to drive it in.
So quickly,
other than that,
so quickly, Terry. So it seems to me, from what I try to sense out with your argument, it's a mix of a combination of two unrelated things, and we'll try to maybe walk far line. We want to institute good behavior, but culture also factor in. And just to add that, there's always a tendency when you're big brother talk, you don't talk back, even though if it's not big brother can lie. Some big brother they can lie. Some big brother say they will send you money. They can't send it. They made you.
But Mr. So,
man, low, you can't get it, but you can't do anything,
Yeah, even the food, like what I heard before, even the food, when your elders are eating, you're not supposed to eat fish or meat. Once you go there, you're not supposed to eat fish or meat. If you eat fish or meat over there, they will beat you. So you're supposed to wait until they give you fish. So that mentality grew up in us. Now, I'm not saying everything of the culture is bad. Even in America here, the culture too is affecting the kids. Our children too, they got a back. The culture is good and the culture is bad. Because in America, they allow the children to become adults at the age of 18, which of course, at that stage, you are immature. So as a result, you look at the women in the society of America, they are uncontrollable. And they got all kind of mentality and perception to relationship. So what I'm saying is, what the reason why our men, or in our culture, there are a lot of domestic violence or violences, if I may, is because it's squarely predicated on the culture.
Okay, thank you so much. 1 minute. You went over the time like you're
Sorry.
liberal. So, Mr. Goya, I want to reserve you because there's something specific I wish that you would address. Let me come to Amos George. Mr. George, you listen to the liberal, you listen to Dr. Jones, my guy, you listen to Terry, almost speaking to like the liberal and Mali and all of that. Where can we connect those dots?
Let me first of all, let me disabuse on people my own show you.
There you go.
Terry,
Hello, man.
there are domestic violence all around the world. Don't think like that. Hold on. Don't think like that to say that's the only place domestic violence do exist. Even in America, Ghana.
I didn't say that.
You mentioned something, say Liberian culture. The men were made like that. You took out the West, but I just want to remind you, if you've been to Ivory Coast, Guinea, Sierra Leone, Ghana, it's the same way behavior for men. But that thing started since 1847, the day of our independence. Men look at women as property, that they could do anything to them. They dowry the woman for them, they can beat the woman, nothing come out of it. So it has been an old age plan that we have been living with. We're trying to change that trajectory. To say that unemployment, the man can't do much, then no food, not this one, then the man jump on the woman. Because you went out. It is your responsibility to provide for your home. And if you didn't bring anything home, if you're well set, isn't that a better way to approach her? But the only opportunity you got is to jump on her and beat her because she asked you, or the children are hungry. The children being with her, the current mind, the one this is, and when you can, she asks you, and you say, oh, okay, I will beat you. No, that's a poor excuse. That's a poor excuse. Because if you are not prepared to provide for your home, you cannot get married. Don't get married. Stay a bachelor. But when you take that responsibility, then of course there's a package you should be responsible for to provide for that home. And if you come, you don't bring any woman ask you, you're not supposed to jump on that woman because she asked you why you didn't bring this. There's a better way to address it. So we can't use those things as an excuse for people to continue to abuse women. For me, I got 3 girls. So I tell people, I tell them, I say, the day you touch my daughter, you'll beat me.
Oh.
Yo, the day you touch my daughter, you'll beat me. I tell you straight.
I can flog my own on that.
You got no right to put your hand on another human being. She has the right just as she must respect you, and you must respect her.
Okay.
This thing that it is happening in our country or around, we have to continue to speak up. Because some of the men, they go out there, run around, when the woman say, where you coming from? Boo! They beat that woman. Because why the woman ask where he coming from? The woman not supposed to ask him. But you and the woman married. If she went out there, she came back when he did ask her, she said, you went somewhere, you didn't tell me why you went. Boo! But when he go, he must come and say that nobody should ask him. Look, these things, it was something that we took from one generation to another generation. I think it's not time that as many of us have traveled and tried to get involved, we are involving, we should change the mentality, we start talking to our young people. This is not the way of life. Violence against women is not right. You should be able to sit down and discuss these things, but I don't want people to find what the war got to do with this. The war just came some 40 years ago. I mean, yeah, some 30 some more years ago. I knew men in Liberia were being abused before the war came.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of like caught in here. Let me bring in Sissy here. Sissy, let me throw this in your area of expertise because I'm hearing multiple things here, and it seems to be what is the culture, civilizations, or mix up, and we are finding it very difficult to get a root here. But we are having this conversation of finding a solution. In the educational world, how can this be addressed? I can remember those days, Toll Memorial Institute, right there in Samson Toll town. Those days, schools used to close nighttime. I can remember I'm not going to call him, but Samson knows, he knows the person. Those days when school closing, when you fail, they announce it publicly. When you pass, they announce it publicly. And this guy, he was, every society, every community get their own water people. When they call him, and they used to have those firecrackers when you just drop it on the market bus. Man, by the time they called that dude that he failed, he knew it and it was planned. He had a cracker in his pocket. The next thing, it was in the principal coat pocket. We just saw, we saw the coat going on blazing. Everybody went helter skelter. What the hell can you man? Your man running. So, Sensei, what is the role? And I know those days, because teachers, people, and we turned corporate punishments. I don't know whether it was a rightful sort of discipline. Sometimes you may be people 25 latches, 10 latches, 15 latches, and all of that. All of these things still didn't bail out. So what is actually missing within the educational system to that people? There should be some sort of discipline. And I know students spend a little less time, 8 hours, whatever hours, depending, and a much longer time they spend in here. How can this ever be fixed in the first place?
Yes, it can. But before I say that, let me push back. I know everybody's entitled to their opinion, but sometimes we got to be very mindful of the way we articulate things on these platforms. For my brother Terry calling to us to kind of portray somewhat that we have an abusive culture, it's sad. This is coming from a man of God who practices the culture of people from the Middle East that still don't allow women to preach in the church. But that is not an abuse. Look, let me give you some stats in America. On an average, 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner. 20 people per minute. That's 10 million people in a year in this America. And they ain't got what culture. 1 in 4 women experience severe partner physical violence and intimate sexual contact violence. By the way, this is coming from the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence. That's a federal government. 1 in 3 women have experienced some sort of physical violence from an intimate partner. 1 in 3. This is in the United States. It is okay to discuss the ills in our society, but sometimes we should stop and think. There is a difference between causation and
internet kind of.
Okay, we have to stop that. We have to seriously stop that. There is nothing in our culture that says that we are a violent culture. Every culture around the world has grappled since the beginning of time with domestic violence. Every culture. So for me, I want to put it in this space because I'm on this platform, and I don't want people to think that I endorse such a misguided overgeneralization and degeneration or degradation of our culture. If there's one thing you know about me is that I respect my culture, and Liberian culture for me, I think is the best. Are there places that we need to make amends? Yes. But to make a categorical statement about our culture being a violent culture is despicable. I just want to put that in space. Now, having said that, in this America where I teach, there are Americans that we stop every time. We have some of them, we have restraining order against them. They can't come on campus. Because they beat their kids. Because they violate their kids. because they violate their partners. A lot of them. The issue is neither about poverty nor war. If you follow the Me Too movement, you follow other things, there are billionaires and millionaires that have been accused of and convicted of violence against their partners. It's not about poverty. No. I remember when I was growing up in Liberia before the war, so my parents were beating their old man. Yeah. We're there watching. They're beating their old man and we're there watching.
Yeah. Don't put your body there.
Let's be fair and let's be frank. Look, my brother Jerry brought up a very interesting topic tonight, and I want to say thank you for bringing that up. Unless we don't want to own up to the fact, I went to school in Liberia. I graduated high school in Liberia. I got my associate degree in Liberia. And I know for a fact I went to school with girls, smart girls. But if you are beautiful in Liberia, it's difficult for you to graduate high school in Liberia without having sexual advances presented to you by teachers. I don't care how smart you are.
That's true.
The exploitation of our girls in schools is a problem. And that's what my brother Jerry brought up here. We have to own up to that. We can't pretend it's not happening. Just like the last time they said they will put, don't bribe the police. My brother here was there, but he can come and say our culture is an abusive culture, but that's supposed to be okay. This thing can be addressed. The first thing is education. How do we educate our people, our young children, our wives, and by the way, our husbands too, because men can also be abused. How do we educate people to recognize abuse and where do they go to for help? And how do we strengthen those places that those people come to after being abused to make sure that they don't re-victimize the victims? For me, I think that's where we focus. And what we've done here in America to try to deal with some of those in the school system is to provide a lot of guidance counselors. And in Liberia, that's one of the things I still see. We are trying, but we're not there. And that is one thing I'm hoping the Joseph Numa Boaka government that has an E in arrest for education, that I hope they will put a lot of money into guidance counseling. Because the issue Mali raised, even though domestic violence did not start with the war, it got put on a fast track because of the war.
Intensify so.
And so how do we ensure that we are putting in these guidance counselors to deal with these kids, some of whom are not in control of their minds? Some of them are dealing with mental health issues. How do we deal with them so that they don't continue to victimize other people? And how do we deal with those students that are victimized by their own colleagues, students, and by people higher up above them? So I think, but my brother Barkon, you brought a very great point today. And I agree with you, Mali, that the war escalated and put this thing on a fast pace, right? Faster than we've been seeing it before. But it's here though, and I'm about to land, because even here in Minnesota, as a member of the board of directors of the Organization of Liberians in Minnesota, we've hosted so many town halls dealing with domestic abuse among people here in the United States, Liberians, that because of the war and the trauma and everything did not get access to help. They're still having domestic violence issue here is prevalent in our community here in the United States. There are a lot of our brothers that have gone to jail because of that. And so I think this is something that is great. That is something maybe we need to spend 2-3 shows on. And thank you again, my brother Barco. I can't say that much enough for bringing this up. But this is something that we sweep under the rug in Liberia. And you asked the question, Mr. So, the way to deal with this is to, my daughter here, there's a song that talks about places that people are not supposed to touch. We're watching it on YouTube. My 3-year-old. Places that people are not supposed to touch her. She already knows that. Right? And people that she needs to report to when somebody touch those places. And just educating her on why that is wrong. Empower her to ensure that she reports when somebody...
So, okay, quickly here, in the West, it's quite a little different from what it's like on the parents are they having these sort of open conversations because the education part, like you mentioned, it shouldn't just be only in schools. To what extent parents who spend a chunk of the time with their kids, are they open to have this sort of conversation, or are they doing enough as well?
Well, Mr. So, you don't know what you don't know. The last time I was here talking about the monkey bridge, for example, on people living in Lofakande and they have a monkey bridge and they never talk about the physics and the math involved in the monkey bridge because they don't know. You don't know what you don't know. A lot of our people will look at abuse. How many of us, let's be fair, but even people that are watching this show in Liberia, how many people now walk by somebody beating their girlfriend in the street and they get part of their business? How many people in the community will watch somebody beating their girlfriend, dragging her, and they will just sit down and eat their dry rice?
I got a story for you.
You don't know what you don't know. I think it is upon us who have known better. To whom much is given, much is expected. It is upon us to start to tell our people why these things are wrong, and not just telling them why it's wrong, but not stigmatize them for coming out and complaining. You find that when women come out and complain, or God forbid, a man can say, my woman can abuse me. The first there's something, oh, your wife can be, you can lazy man, so go sit down one place. I knew one man, wife used to be in planet, used to beat a man a lot when we were growing up. The woman used to beat a man. And what I'm saying, I'm not joking.
Oh, that man, sister, you throw me way back then.
There was a couple that lived near us around the Tommy Half fence. The husband was for IE, the wife was for Barrow. Anytime IE and Barrow play, they don't know what the people were not for when the game drop. IE win at fighting, Barrow win at fighting. And we used to think it was funny. We didn't know we didn't know anything. So to answer your question, so the other part of this can come on. I think it is upon us, and that's why I keep pushing the education system, because that is the one thing I know. That is where we can solve a lot of our issues. Start to educate our children, because when they go home and see mommy and daddy exhibiting some of those behaviors, they can say, "Mom, that's wrong. Dad, that's wrong." My little baby here, you know that grandpa we loud, right? My wife and myself were having a conversation one time, the music on, and I'm trying to yell all the music to talk to my wife. My little 3-year-old came to me, "Daddy, stop being mean to mommy. Stop yelling." I go, "Well, no. I'm talking over the music so she can hear me." He said, "No, stop yelling." I had to lower the music and talk in my tune, because that's what she's been told.
That low-fi content, oh my
God. They get that me, stop being mean to her mom. Whereby I'm trying to talk, you know how we can talk over the music for my wife to hear me? And I had to lower the music and bring my tune down. So that's why I keep pushing the fact that this starts in the schools. This starts with getting guidance counselors, a lot of guidance counselors for our kids, to help them out, recognize what is wrong, and help them with the tools to be able to navigate, their lives after they have been wrong.
Okay.
Mr. So, can I respond?
Yeah, sure. I know it.
Because my senior brother went all up. First of all, cultural on domestic violence include female mutilation, which is in the culture. You can't deny that. When we choose to live in oblivion and look at the reality and deny it, it's painful. When we claim to be educated, come on this network and refuse to educate our people, that is painful. And what restrains domestic violence is not education, it's law. The reason why America is successful in curtailing domestic violence is because they have laws that are working.
America is not successful.
I never told you, point of correction, I never told you that America is exempted from domestic violence. I didn't say that. If you go back and replay, you will hear me making mention of even the slave trade that came in America and how they have progressed from that mentality over the years. And I don't believe in women not having access to preach on the pulpit. I don't believe in that mentality. But let me read something to you here from the United Nations. All right. It said Liberia ranks 177th out of 188 countries in gender equality index. Moreover, the score index, a tool designated to measure peace in society, reveals that about 2 out of 10 Liberians endorse
Are you
domestic
monitoring the
violence
time?
against women and children, and 1 out of 10 endorses sexual violence, including rape. What I'm trying to tell you, these statistics reveal that what is happening in the Liberian society is coupled around culture. If you are a Muslim, if you understand the Islamic culture, most of the Islamic people in Liberia back in the day, the women, they never allowed the women to be educated because it was a culture. They did not allow the women to go to school. That the remaining ones now that are coming up, that getting to be educated and understanding civilization and other things, are the ones that can allow the women to go to school down. But before, the women were not permitted to even work.
Okay.
So I will just leave it there. But that
Terry,
is
you should go to Terry. I want you to go to South Africa to find out how many child is raped in a minute from South Africa. Go to South Africa.
anyway.
Terry, what you say here? What you say here? It was wrong.
What was wrong?
Take that. I first going to say, no, let me tell you something.
Hold on.
Mr. Store, you gotta control.
I didn't tell you say the Liberian culture is abusive. I never said that.
Hello.
I said the Liberian culture needed to be edited, and there are some bad things being taken out.
Hold on. Okay.
People listen to me, you can go back and play the video over.
Don't get emotional.
You will listen to my. I'm not emotional. I'm not emotional. I'm expressing myself. I'm not emotional.
Hold on, guys. You know, there are other people here who trying to get the help of the public there to see whether they can give them life jacket and to rescue them from Total River. That's not going to happen. You can display whatever you display, whether you're on waiting list, you're on. Yeah, when you go somewhere, when you meet other people there, you have to wait until those people are said. If you can't wait, you will reschedule your appointment. So something told, you can pull whatever you want to pull out there. The same road that hand monkey, it can hand bamboo. You had your time last night, it is my time. You know me. So you like, but will they forget his man? Okay, guys, I think this want to be a sort of a lengthy conversation. I don't want us to go back and forth. Everybody came up with a point, and yeah, we are now 9:29. Let's try and tap into this here, but I think we can have a replay of this here. Let's tap into other people's key points they brought as well. But I think we have learned a lesson here. Jerry, back on. So I think that was a great conversation. I'll give that to you. Let's go to Dr. Jones. Well, I think if we can just downsize that, I will plead with you to just narrow down your talking point to one basic one, so the analyst can scramble over here and then we'll go to the other person, at least to give everybody the chance to talk here. There were two things you put forward, right?
Yeah, I think some of them are being addressed by some of the panelists. But anyway, let's just recap.
So we'll do one,
yeah. Let's just recap. First of all, I want to agree with panelist Sisi. Our culture is not violent. If you did not come to the United States, you will not know what are their differences in culture. That's the first thing. Before I came here, I thought genital mutilation was good. And so we also put her in Lofa County. It was not anything bad. No. I saw my father beating I saw my mother beating, my stepmother beating my father.
It's still not very good.
As fair that, well, that's discipline is good. But when you travel, you see the opposite of things. The question now is, the changes you have been encountered with, is it applicable in your culture? The answer is no. The more violent society I ever witnessed is where I'm sitting right now. So I think I'm much better. So even beating my wife, it's okay. It's a fine thing. Unlike taking gun and shooting her down and calling the police, say you can't take the body from here. I think that is egregious. So my culture for now is just okay. Yes. However, let's move on to the issue of, Sister just mentioned one important thing here, that the war was part of this problem. And I think that summarizes my point. Indeed, the war played a very major role here. Some of the political actors at the time, Charles Taylor, 6 years in power, did he address rehabilitation, reintegration, empowerment of the kids? That's another ballgame. The United Party Part 1, did they address these things? The census tells us that there are 37% of the young people in the system. That's a huge population according to the census. All right. So the issue of mental illness is in the system. Self-reared children, they are there. No employment skill, that group is there. No education, that group is there. Wayward children, that group is there. Impoverished, parentless children, that whole population is there. So the question now is government coming up with a program that we can reintegrate these children, rehabilitate them,
Still want to be political.
them? That is the question now that we need to be struggling with, because most of the children now in the system, the only language, they were child soldier before. According to UNDP report on 2004, there were 21,000 of them.
Okay,
right?
Dr. Jones.
Yes, sir, I come in now. Now, they are all adults right now. They don't have employable skill. The only mentality they have is to hold gun and kill people. The only vocabulary they have in their mouth is to harm people, steal, mayhem, carry a whole lot of things. So, like Sister said, education could be the first thing that we tackle. But the question now is, how do we track them to get them back into that whole thing?
Okay, so do me a favor.
Yeah.
You don't have to announce it publicly. If you want, you can send me a private message and I can deal with that. If there's anyone that you feel perhaps tonight to just be like, to United Nations observer on this program, feel free and take. Look, when it's in your hand, you exercise your authority. If there's any analyst you feel tonight that should not partake and just be like an observer, at the end of the day, we give them a certificate. That's okay. Text me and I'll go with that. Okay.
No, I'm not even texting you. I will just plead with you to grant amnesty tonight.
Okay. All right. So
nobody
our fans.
The conversation started peacefully. I think a peaceful conclusion would be good. Even for those who claim to be on the bench.
And you see the Moja people, they say amnesty for that will bring concomitantly, then the whole thing will fall down behind again.
So, Dr. Jones, I listen to you. We intend not to leave no one behind. But sometimes there can be fire for people to learn. But now fans, followers are not pleading. You look so pitiful, sad now. But trust me, this guy gonna come crazy in the next coming days. I know him very well. They will make you give up. Let me bring in the liberal progressive, following Dr. Jones, Pew, and Amos Joyce, and
I didn't appeal for him. No. I said nobody committed any crime here, so there's no answer. I didn't appeal for anybody, because you can only appeal for people when something is wrong. As far as I'm concerned, everything is okay here.
You can't get into all right, whatever. Okay, look, liberal, on a serious note, I think this is sort of a more informative, educative, and a sort of eye-opening. And that's the distinctions of this network. We differ with one another on different views, and we allow people to speak here. I believe there were 2 points that you outlined. We try to tap into each and at least everybody's talking point for us to something. You can do what to parking in the garage. That's what name like Mr. Name like you full of trouble. Don't start parking in the garage.
You can keep Mr. Toe in the garage.
Yeah, amen. So look, the liberal.
Yeah, Mr. So.
Complexity of society, it's challenging. I mean, and with today's world, is very, very, very difficult. Even when they try authority, then everybody try to continue. We can see how some things slip out of our own hands, and you wish that you can have a control. But ultimately, at the end of the day, we see it national government, different institutions. So I don't know. Let's hear you. So downsize your 2 points here and see what you want to prioritize so that we can have a conversation.
Yeah, well, Mr. So, thank you very much. Jerry, thank you very much for this wonderful topic. Mr. So, just briefly, what I can say is that just listening to the panel himself, all of whom are highly educated. You heard the doctor, you heard Sissy, you heard Mr. Joyce, you heard Terry, and they're all coming from a different perspective. And this is why I make it more interesting here on the platform, of course. But I also want to look at that type of conversation that is being had here tonight. This, to me, demonstrates how difficult this type of behavior, culturally connected, in my opinion, how difficult it will be for us to try to put that aside. Yeah, Dr. June, PhD, Sissy Goya, deals with people, kids, almost like he's pretty much know what is happening in people's homes and what have you. And they are not able to, including Terry, they are not able to come to a complete conclusion here tonight. They are saying things, yes, similar, but for me, a little bit different. And these are people that have traveled. How much more about people still in total? So, Mr. So, I think this is a very difficult subject matter, and I really appreciate Jerry bringing it up. But Jerry, what I can tell you, tomorrow you will have a full day on my show to discuss in its entirety. We will not allow any of these PhD coming out here, calling the root cause of this thing, coming to the sense the war. Jerry, you will have a free time and you will have a wonderful time.
Okay, all right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
No, Mr. So, no. You gave Marley, you gave Dr. June 1 minute, 37 seconds. You gave Dr. June 1 minute, 50 seconds. And I'm on the program tonight. I'm just like a flower dressing. The audience are pretty much saying you got to bring the liberal in. And you sit here and you think, say, you're going to bamboozle me, Jerry.
Okay, listen.
We will have our day tomorrow.
I'm running on my own time, not your time, okay? So you, whatever thing. But let me bring in Jerry. He's been quiet for a little while, and I think he brought some different dynamic into today's conversation. I don't know how he managed to change the whole game around, but I think it's quite rewarding and very educative and informative. Jerry, what prompted this here? You said you watched the show last night, but there must be something beyond watching the show that triggered this whole thing here.
Look, let me tell you something, Mr. So. I said I rewatch a show, and I know you're going to accuse me again.
Oh God!
I'm going to be because the book of Proverbs says only a fool can change. A wise man changes.
So what have you changed to?
No. I just want to bring it to different perspectives. What are the features of this government? How can we make an impact into our society? These are the things. We are all here. We have different professional. We are different people who have different views. But the only thing we want to do is our government, our country. That's what we are fighting for here. We might have different views, but the only thing we want is our Mama Liberia to be, at least they're not going to be perfect, but we want a clean society where our children will have future, where our wives will have future.
Will a clean society, will it be inclusive or just for the few?
Precisely. I mean, we're not going to exclude the people. That's what that society is all about. I might not like your view, but I have to accept what you are saying. It doesn't matter.
Oh, I
Who
didn't
you
know
are.
that.
How can I accept? No, I accept your view, but I'm
Oh.
not. You know, not because I accept your view, so you're going to abuse. Because I accept your view, so definitely you're going to abuse me.
Now people who honey.
Yeah. So, look, this topic is very intense, and I enjoy it. These are the things we need to address, Mr. Barker, in his cabinet meeting. These are issues that he or somebody who are with Mr. Barker to put on the issues. Look, these are liability on our government, because these are the people of the future of our country. If we don't address the issues, because they're children who, like the dad said, who guns were given to, they were not rehabilitated, they were not, they got integrated into society. So these are focal points where Liberia need to go in the 21st century. Look, we are what, 24 years into the 21st century. We got a lot of opportunity, and God has blessed most of who here have worked in the government, local government, principal, teacher, janitor. Look, let me do closing.
Quickly.
1 second. A janitor in this country, in order for you to be a janitor in the place, you have to get a certificate. I know that my brother, who is the principal or who teaches in the school, you cannot just put water on that floor. There's certain liquid you have to use to do this thing. So there are a lot of education we can do in our country that we can go back and look. If you do this, you can be a professional person. You don't have to go to college before you can do this. So domestic violence is something that we can we can integrate it into society.
All right. Let me go to the man from the far right, Amos George. I believe he did talk about the eviction, something, right?
Yeah, Keller.
Okay, so with that here, a lot of these videos, I'm going to give an essence to be illustrative to our viewer, and let's see what you really want to tie in with it. Are these the rightful people as well? Let's watch this here a little bit.
This is so sad, folks. People are now being made homeless, sitting along the streets with nowhere to go. It's already almost 7 p.m. in Liberia. Darkness is about to fall. Where would these people sleep? Where are they going?
Okay, people are being made homeless. The connotations as to what are the policies of the government, what are the intruder into government terrain, blah blah blah. But the mindset of the people are being made homeless by their own government, nowhere to go. Whether they will sleep in the street, people are taking their thing. It's a very difficult thing to interpret, to draw that line of reasoning. Why you decided to bring this, Josh?
Yeah, I decided to bring this in because people's perception in Liberia, encroaching on other people's properties, squatting on government land. And I think it is now time that we start enforcing the laws of the country. And to say that I don't feel for people, I have feeling for people. But what I want to say is that we must learn how to respect other people's rights. And this story is interesting because it says that when the RC Lawson, before you get to RC Lawson on the left side there, that place will be Gil Quarter. Before you get to RC Lawson, they have one Jamaican old man, Mr. James. I think that is sister that not property for him. But right there, that man sold that land for Grace Man, and he sold that place. He was there for over 40 years. He made people understand that place was for him. 2017, I was in Liberia. The city like the bulldozer went there, start breaking down property. And people started yelling that the Congo people wicked. The land for the man. I was in a lawyer office. The people came there, one of the party came there. And the lawyer asked and said, what is the history of this case? They said they don't have the history. They were much sure one of them, and they said, but the law firm that was represented, they said they couldn't represent no more. So the people went, the court ruled that the property for the people. They gave the gay man that Kelly Johnson, they said he had been in court several times. The same thing the past regime told people that the court should not rule this and that. Now the regime changed. The court ruled that the man should take his property. Now you see the people now. They are saying like if to say that someone, the body play legitimate and someone just driving them out of there. And that is the narrative the press, some of the press are pushing. What the government can do. This is not a disaster. And they don't understand. A no tornado that came, or rain, or something, or storm that came and broke down people's houses, and the government can intervene. These were people who have been squatting on somebody's property for years. And some of them admitted that they have been squatting there. So why the press want to put this thing now to wrap it around the government, that the government is not coming to people aid, and the people been here for all those years? We have to stop these things here. Because if we don't stop it, the country will continue to have some department. Look at Matari there. That new Matari right there, before Matari Junction there, that whole place there. 1979, when Tower was building our old Matari, the government bought that whole place. They ran sewage pipe all under there. But today you go there, people say they bought the land from one vile old man. Fubu factory. They have built within where the Baron used to practice. The FSA people are built in there.
Okay, quickly here.
But what I'm saying, we have to start enforcing the law.
Okay.
I feel for people will have to. But let me just close on a note. Terry talk about female mediation.
Oh God.
Terry in America, in Europe, that's what's happening there. Check it. Yes. Do your research. In this country.
Well, you say was.
Hold on now. In this country, they did it here. But you're not correct. In all the places it was done there. In one time. You correct it.
Okay, quickly here. I want to squeeze in.
That is a culture. I come from the background of that era where their things need to modify, yes. But for you, I will not sit down for you to condemn it. It can be modified. But I would not agree with you that all these things
we passed that thing there.
No. I don't want to make that clear.
Okay. Doctor, you see what's going on? You see what domestic violence problem can be solved?
Hold on.
It's right here.
Okay, I think one person talking.
Maybe you don't know the culture and domestic violence. What is the difference?
Amos Joyce, Terry,
even domestic violence,
it is not the labor in charge. So you guys be mindful before you.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I think one person, we talk on your talking point, right, Terry? I think only say we have not gone to. Let's squeeze in there.
Yeah, so go ahead, Flo.
Let's go to, there were two things Cece mentioned. We're going to downsize it to one. And then we critically look at everybody points who want to work within the time frame. I'm not going to be like other people who, go overboard and then to come and say, I'm sorry because this and that, but I have the cap. So Cece.
A battery finish.
Yeah.
Look, I'm trying to restart here tonight. He says someone up pretend that we are educated. And for me, I don't pretend. I hope Terry knows that. I'm not reading a book that was written 5,000 years ago. There is a difference between causation and correlation. If you don't know them, read them. And then we can discuss stats after that.
I will learn it tonight.
I don't know how we got to the point where we went from domestic violence to genital mutilation. And we didn't discuss.
It's part of domestic violence.
Hold on, my brother. Hold on.
Check it out. It's part of domestic violence.
Eric, that.
Okay, go ahead.
Former speaker used to tell Yaga Kolba, what was the word he used to use? Decorum. You were talking about
decorum.
When you're in chair, you're preaching that you want to get the state. I know you chair. So when I'm talking, you leave it.
Well, man, I can listen to you quietly.
Prof, I didn't talk.
You know me, I don't interfere. You.
Let's make progress.
Listen.
You don't get. No, it's not a liberal.
You talk about female. Hold on 1 second. Let me educate my brother a little bit.
Go ahead.
We talk about female genital mutilation or female circumcision, whatever name you want to give it. You as men, you get circumcised, which has no medical benefit. You do it because of a culture. The Hebrew culture, because their God told them, say they must cut the toto hair so they will go to heaven. Y'all do that. Y'all do that every day. And y'all walk with pride. But y'all run for your own. So let me move on to what I want to discuss here. Look, I was talking about education. And I said, for me, you know, what my brother Jerry put on the table here, I agree with it. As far as the abuse of our young people. And my piece has been the allocation in the budget. I'm reading the budget right now. Oh, by the way, I put a budget in our chat room for those who haven't seen the full.
I think we need to,
I put it in there. There's been a 15.3% increase in the educational budget. And they're saying that most of their components should go for compensation for employees, repairs and maintenance of public schools, government transfer to universities, so all of those payments, and then payment for the implementation of the free and compulsory primary education, as well as the tuition-free policy for tertiary education that was started by George Manawia, and also the elimination of registration fees burdens and the financial burden posted for the examination fees. So the WIAC fees also that got started by the former President George Weah is being paid for under this new budget. What I will hope to see is how much of this money, now that we're talking about compensation to employees, how much of that's going to be put into getting more professionals, as far as the professionals that are concerned with mental health of our students. And I'm talking about not people who are the technical expert, like the subject matter expert, like the math teacher, the science teacher, or the history teacher. I'm looking for people who are dealing with guidance counseling, who are going to be the buffer, or the psychologists that we're going to hire. Are we going to hire more psychologists? Is the Joseph Yamabuaka government recognizing that kush is an issue? Because Unity Party throughout the election kept talking about kush. Recognizing that kush is an issue, how do they plan on targeting those issues in the school system? Are they going to be professionals to help our brothers and sisters, our children who have already been affected by kush directly or indirectly? Because mind you, there are some children who are being born in these ghettos, and those children are being born with the effect of the drug overdose.
Okay. It's 9:57 Eastern Standard Time. This is the last scramble game we're going to get on. The president now is calling on his cabinet in fulfillment of his political promise. And I think the best person can get this full is Dr. Marley Jones. He's calling his cabinet to declare. Now, the declaration aspect and the publication aspect seems to be the convoluted one here, because there's a law there. I'm not sure whether this law is really telling us how good, because I go and declare, say I get XYZ. It's not, I got to go through some sort of hurdles, another huge processes through court jurisdictions to get it public. How authentic these politicians, and not just only with Joseph Boyka, the George Weah, and the past history here. But let's start here with, he been mean to me, but I'll try to be nice to him. Let me start with the liberal here, because people have pleaded, call for clemency when here. Liberal, before we wrap up here, people declaring, they're not putting it up. And the same one wanted that we got to go through other process here. What is the authenticity in this sort of argument? Are they serious, or they just gaming as usual politically?
Well, like Sese Goya would say, they will change the country by fire or by force. And that's exactly what most likely is going to happen. President Bakai will have no choice but to listen to the young people and make sure these declaration assets that is being sent out there for declaration or whatever it is, that first of all they're going to be published, and then they're going to be verified. President Baka will come around, and he will come around, Mr. So. But right now, people are making noise, and if you mind the noise in the market, 1% noise, CDC noise, and all the other noise, you mind in the market, you'll not get anything done. and President Baka is focused.
You're not
President
answering my
Baka is Mr. So the liberal, please. President Baka is focused, and President Baka is determined to
Should
succeed.
he not only declare, should he take the lead to publish what he declared?
Mr. So, because it comes from you, it doesn't mean that the man will do what you have to do. Jerry told you yesterday, everything get time. Let's wait for that. Jerry spoke on that and told you exactly what it is. So, Mr. So, you're not going to come bamboozle us for President Baka to come and publish his asset. The man would have been there even 4 more years, my people. What kind of business then? Joy, we were there for 6 years.
All right.
Anything. You ain't said nothing.
Okay, thank you very much.
One work out equity, one kind of clean hands.
Okay, there we go. 1%. 1%. Go ahead.
Jerry Bacon.
Yes, sir.
The president is calling on his cabinet ministers at a retreat in fulfillment of his political promise, which of course politician that is common, to declare. Beyond declare, should we defy conventional wisdoms and say, okay, I can declare, but should he publish? They declare, and for he as a leader should take the lead, not just only declaring, but to publish out of transparency. The arrest, that's part of the arrest protocol or arrest agenda. Should he do that?
Look, it's in the preview of the president, he had a discretional power. All right, he had a discretional power. You see, look, like I said from the set of the show, I went back and looked at the replay of the tape. My focus right now is how can we do better for Liberia? Declare asset, publish it. Let me ask you something. Maybe I'm confused.
You're not answering my question.
No, I just want. Okay. Let me rephrase it.
No, my question is: should he declare now? Should he publish? Yes or no?
He declared already. He have declared. So where else do you want? Where else do you want? Like I said,
do you know how much he got there? Do you know how much he got there?
I do not have access to it. I do not have it.
So how do you have access to it when it's not
Hold
public?
on, hold on.
No, listen. You know what I said? He said you may have declared asset. Let me ask you something. You're a representative in your state. You have declared asset. By George. Remember George?
Yeah.
What your question? You asking me?
No.
Yeah, I just asking. You're representative.
What representative you talking about?
You're representative in your state. Oh, I don't know which the state.
Major Green. Major Taylor Green.
Oh, okay. Yeah, declare asset.
Okay.
Let me say this to you.
No, I just asking you.
I have no time now. I want to give everybody the chance.
I will answer the question just why. Mr. Sukwa, I will answer the question. When it comes to me,
when the president ready, it will be available.
Okay. Thank you so much. When the president ready,
don't lose your sleep over this thing. Look, we got better thing to talk about than declare your asset. No, look, we got better thing to do. Liberia need to move forward.
Wow. This is
I'm with you, Jerry.
Okay, now we probably know it wasn't a long time. Okay, the deal breaker, Terry Collins. Forget about what the Liberal are going to be saying here. Should we just declare no publications? We should go through the policy, the rules of the law, but we won't just tell people say this is what we got, and we just put blanket over it and I'll judge we are, but then come back and say we want to arrest and change things. Should we declare and publish as well, or just do it the same old way?
Well, Mr. So, you already know the answer. President Baka ran on the mantra of transparency. And if he went on VOA, which we all listen to, the whole world listen, that he will publish his asset. He will declare and publish. I believe, like I listened to T-Max and T-Max lifted my spirit. Look, a veteran journalist that you got, Mr. So when you guys speak, we listen because it arose something in you.
Like
you're not answering my question, Terry.
T-Max told his guy that was challenging him that the same way you're asking me the question. T-Max said, I am convinced. He said there are certain That what brought me to Mr. Bacon the last time was talking about President Booker. Tima said, I am convinced in certain politicians that I can lay my neck down for. And one of those persons is President Booker. He said, I'm convinced that President Booker will declare his asset. He said, because I know him. I know him. Today, go listen to Tima. So I'm saying they're on this backdrop because the reason I go to Tima is because these are people that know President Booker even before some of us knew him, or before some of us were even born, maybe. You understand? So, and these guys been in the media, they understand the nitty-gritty of all these things. So if they can tell us, the man is telling you, he putting his neck on the chopping board that President Booker will publish his asset. And I myself, I'm convinced that President Booker will publish his asset.
Okay, so in the interest of fairness, I want to go to Amos Joy here. In the interest of fairness, from what I'm trying to sense, how we should give a grace period of the 100 days.
Right.
Is that part of the 100 days deliverable?
Well,
Yeah.
I will be sure that President Booker will publish his asset within the 100 days. Even if he don't, before this year end, President Booker will publish his asset.
Okay, so let me come.
I strongly believe that.
Okay, let me come to Amos Joy, Sissy, and Dr. Jones going to wrap this here. Amos Joy, you were all freaking out when the talking point of why you kept putting people, the man or yeah, something. You listen to Jerry Bacon and the liberal here. I know recently, who was this guy? This GS8 or this on the assets business that he was saying. I did hear him saying that the president declared, and the notion that President then George Weah published, nothing was ever published. You just start digging out things. We don't know. I don't know the authenticity of that argument here. But quickly here, there's food of thought. There's food of thought here. You know, Terry.
Did you just say that? Anyway, go ahead.
About what? No, they said, George Weah.
Yeah, I heard you saying something like.
He said it was declared, but it wasn't published. Yeah. In fact, he said there was no anything of that. I've not been privileged to have that record, so I don't want to go in there. But quickly here, to the point of Terry here. Terry said something, 100 days deliverable, but they are going to cabinet retreat. The president is calling and encouraging his cabinet ministers to declare. Now, if they come out and declare and without publishing, what is the interpretation out there? Will they follow suit of their boss, or do you think anybody going to jump ahead of the shadow, passing their boss to declare and then publish? What would that mean politically?
No, Honorable Walker himself said it during the campaign that if he wins, he's going to declare the asset and make it public. Even though there's a loophole within the law that just declare asset, if anybody wanted can go through the court to ask for that, or to ask the court to ask the LSCC to give them that proper record. But we know when George Weah did declare his assets, front page went to the court to no avail. So that means that law has a loophole. And I said, one who come with equity will come with clean hands. Saying Honorable Walker, the rescue thing, talking about transparency, it would be very good why he had declared his assets to make it public. Then, of course, he will set a precedent, and so all the cabinet minister directors will not just declare assets, but will publish it. Because what happened here, they're talking about fighting corruption. Because you're going to take over the people's money. You're going to manage the people's property, our money and things. It would be good. I would know what you got when you took over that job and when you're leaving. So tomorrow people can ask you, oh, you stole this, you this and that. So these are the problems we are talking about. And for some people to say he would do it at his own time, no, it's not a matter of his own time. This man, you are employee of the Liberian people, and we got to know what you bring, what you have coming into government. So when you leave tomorrow, we can't say you stole anything from us. So it is important for Honorable Walker to live up to his word. Once he had declared his asset, and let him make it public. So the other case, when he's talking, no minister, no director, oh, the person had not published the asset.
So, quickly here, will you be holding your breath until the 100-day expiration? Or
well, 100 days, I don't see the need. He declared, he declared, what is the need when you declare how long it will take to publish it? It doesn't take anything.
Is any part of the Constitution that the president have to declare his assets?
The
president
this is
said
that what I told you. There's a loophole in the law.
He said
That part of the Constitution that is required.
Hold on.
No.
There's no the
Code of conduct.
It's not in the Constitution.
It's a code of conduct.
Hold on. The law that created that act said that the president can declare his asset. If anybody wants it to be, he can go through the court to have it.
Let's cut.
When you go to the court will deny you. They will not give you access to that document from the LSC or GSCC. They will not give you access. And the law requires that you should have access to it, but they will not do it. And that what happened during George Weah time. When he declared access, front page went all out to get it. But the court not. They blocked it. They denied them.
Thank you, Amos George.
So this is a new administration. This is a new administration.
Well, the new administration, you start finding excuse. It's not time to publish it. They have written it up. They have declared.
We gotta go. So,
not even your business. You were never with us anyway.
So when you declare your asset, is it not published?
Hold on, guys. Let me just question before we wrap up.
Joseph Waka his farm. I got nothing to do when he running his farm. I got nothing to do with him. But when he personal Liberia, then that's what I got him to say.
When these people carry a pressure, or LPR is not responsible.
They're not carrying my pressure, Mr. So.
Okay. So, Mr. Goya, you during the heat of the campaign, you supported a guy who consistently, in every network he went to repeatedly, I said over and over, if I become president, I will publish, I would unveil what I have, I will put it out there, nobody going to question me and all of that. But since then, I'm not sure whether it is the right timing. I haven't heard him speaking of lately here. But it's just becoming a piece of cloth between the Caesar now, and the president is asking his folks, his cabinet, his chief lieutenants to come and declare. Okay, they will declare. We don't know whether they're going to publish. Is it becoming a bone of contention? What should the president be doing at this time? Follow the policy, follow the rules on the book, and who wants it, go to the court or what?
But how you call my only 1% guy and another man driving Ferrari around town? You ask him why he's not talking.
Your guy came with a broom. He came with a broom. I think about 200 before we even get to the
you say you don't want a broom. You don't want Gizzy government, so you leave all alone. But let's take it on a serious note. Look, there is a social contract signed between Joseph Yuma Boakai and the voters of Liberia. And that social contract was based off of promises he made and them giving him their votes. And the promises were that he will not only declare, he will publish. Yes, Terry, I heard you asking the question, if he declares, not published. No. When he declares, he gives it to the LACC. That's it. To publish it means it should be accessible to the public, put out there on eMansion or somewhere else. That is the publication. So declaring and publishing, two different things. Now, the law as it is right now says that they have to declare. It doesn't say anything about they have to publish. But just like Yuma Boakai, during his campaign, signed a social contract with the citizens that he would not only live up to the bare minimum of the law. Mr. Boakai, being a very smart man, would not only go for D-, which is the declaring, he will go for A+, which is the publishing. But sadly now we're seeing the partisans who are very smart people now, they're crawling for the bare minimum D-. We will declare, but will not publish. Look, my guy talked about a lifestyle audit. Because if you declare your asset, then the public is able to audit you and say, this man came into office with $10,000. How can he afford riding a BMW? That is a lifestyle audit. Again, the president is not violating the law. If it's declared, that's the law. But the social contract is being violated with by what he signed with the people. My thing here is, here is my question. Even if the president were to publish his asset and he requests all of his appointees to publish their assets, what happens if a 10-year position refuses to publish their asset but declare their asset? They're not violating the law. Can you fire them? No, he cannot. Because other employees serves at his will and pleasure. He can fire anybody. He just fired the financial intelligence person. He can fire the minister of justice. He doesn't have to give a reason because that's not a 10-year position. But what happens if all of the ministers who are not tenure publish their assets, but 10-year positions declare, which is with the law, and refuse to publish? What happens?
Okay. Well, but the same law said that if somebody asks for it and they refuse, then of course we can say administrative reason, because it should be available if someone asks for it.
So but you just said, Mr. Judge, that going to the court is fiasco. So the person is not in charge of it. If I declare my asset and give it to LACC, I'm no longer in charge of it. If you go to LACC and the court and the defect, you can come back to me and hold me responsible.
Guys, it's 8:12. Let's break the yoke. Dr. Mally Jones, you heard Councilor Jerry Boyka and that of the most liberal on this network, even though they don't know him, according to him, but he's a strong advocate. This guy cried like a little chihuahua on this network. With George, we are not doing XYZ, but he's been more political and taking a defensive position now, helping to raise an alligator. Here we are, Mally Jones. You know, it's a convoluted one because the law there, these politicians, they are so strategic. They make these laws and they leave a back door to put a hook on things that you can easily choke them as well. But where are we heading to this thing here? What should he, like Sister said, the social contract that is there, he told the Liberian people, whether it's a legal binding, that's another thing. But if you listen to the liberal and listen to Jerry Barker and Terry Collins, who are the talking heads for the strong admirers of the president here, are they helping out?
Well, the only thing I want to say is that Joseph Barker had come out to say he will publish he will announce or submit his assets. And he leave it there, fine. Then we can now be making reference to law, what the law says. Should he publish it or not? Joseph Barker told us clearly, in clear terms, he will announce his asset and he will publish it. I'm holding him by that. I'm not going to know law. Joseph Barker is a man of set of moral and ethical principle. He got that foundation, and for which I respect him up to today until something come out to disprove that. And in the event he doesn't live up that expectation, then the adjective of lie will be tied around his neck, which of course I don't want to move closer.
Are you trying to provoke the liberal?
No. I just want to be clear. I said that
I want to go by who you are.
I think he's intentionally trying to provoke the liberal.
Come in now.
Look, Mr. Saul.
No, I didn't call you into this here. I'm just asking Mally a simple question.
Mr. Barker introduced a good platform here tonight. Now he has opened the door for fire. We got to go into the fire right now. However,
but then make it brief. So someone
all right. So I will hold him to that.
Mally Jones, speak, Mally Jones.
I will hold him to that. But he's one of our elderly statement. So that adjective, I'm still keeping it to my chest until the 100 day, after the 100 day, before I will decide whether it will go or not. However, let's backtrack a little bit. It's not only the assets declaration. The inaugural budget became a fiasco. The channel that gone cold.
My man, I want to leave that one alone.
the finding of the soldier wife grievances. A committee was set up that gone cold. 3.
What is this show tonight?
3.
No, but Dr. Mali,
Yeah.
they said the same people in charge of investigating the $70,000 from retired campaign that they put investigating the other one, and so they're still working on it.
Okay. And 3, up to now, Joseph Barker had employed 139 top-ranking officials. What other every one of them went through the draw text.
But they can break soon.
All right. Then besides that, the comprehensive audit of Georgia government. The president with all his moral value and ethical foundation told us that he was going to audit this government and bring in a foreign firm to help to avoid the issue of witch hunt. That has gone cold. It has resulted into what I call a cherry-picking audit.
Oh, really?
So many things have gone cold, but I cannot hold the president led to the fire now until after the 100 days.
So what is
However, I want to congratulate the president.
Again?
Yes, I want to congratulate the president. I think Sese just went into that issue there about the allocation. But I'm congratulating him because in his recent budget cut increase, proposed budget cut increase, he said he was going to take money from he was going to reduce the State Department budget from 20 million to 9 million. That's a good news. His own office budget from 4.4 million to 2.2 million. That's a good news. Mr. Kuhn budget, the vice president, from 4 million to 2 million. That's a good news. That's the Daily Observer telling us this. The legislature budget from 67 million to 38 million. There where now people are apprehensive in the house that they don't want to go here again. All right. But however, move on. Reducing these things, the speaker budget from 2.2 to 1.6 is a problem. The deputy speaker reducing it from 1 million to 5.6K is a good news. And all those things going into education, as he said, it going to the US budget, as he said, of course, it's true. Agriculture from 4 million to 5 million. Health increase from 64 million to 75 million. These are good news. And I want to congratulate the president for that. But I also want to remind the president, as an objective independent, that so many things are going cool. Thank you.
Including the 300,000.
So,
Mali, we don't have cherry.
this is the most ridiculous closing of a show for a very long time.
Mr. Thing was something good. He decided to open the corridor for fire.
Dr. Jones, please. Let me say this.
Liberal, hold on. Liberal, hold your peace. Hold your peace. Calm down.
Liberal, this is not your program. You can
No,
hold your
please
peace.
tell Dr. Jones we get cherries on no fire. We can't cherry
We do not
pick.
intend to relegate this program. Dr. Mali Jones was designated to close tonight's conversation. And when the program is closed, we close it once and for all.
Thank you, Mr.
Dr. Mali Jones.
So now doing our closing.
Why you think I was talking? Why I was talking?
Okay, no
Mr.
problem.
Stowe, let me say this.
So the show closed.
Let me say this to Dr. June and
Because the guy
Sissy
was
Goya.
a small thing to
Let me
say.
say this to Dr. June and Sissy Goya, please.
Yeah, I've got small thing to say. To
No, hold on, Terry. Let me say this to Dr. June and Sissy Goya.
Liberal, you don't.
When I
Calm
see you,
down.
I thought you were shutting this thing
I
down.
thought-
What's going
You're
on?
good there, yeah. I thought the show over.
Yes,
Can the show finish? You're good there.
Sir, you made your final remark
I'm
already?
gonna final reminder.
Yes, Amos George, you made your final remark already?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Mr. Barker, all done.
Final remark already?
Let me say this to Sissy Goya and Dr. Jones. I will say it anyway.
Liberal, hold on. You must be a good gentleman. It doesn't represent you. Hold on, we're going to put it into a vote. Dr. Mali Jones, you made your final remark already?
No, sir.
Oh, he's spoiling.
No, I just want to.
I love it.
He's spoiling everything.
I just want to conclude that.
Why you concluding it?
But let me make this
The
point.
man wanted to close on you, then you go spoil everything.
Let me make this point.
Oh, God.
I just want to conclude that platform patriotism is very beneficiary, and we should make use of it. Thank you.
Okay.
Let me make
You
this
see,
point here.
That degree they gave you, Pape, at 100%, you deserve it.
Hold on. 3-4. Already made their remark. I'm going to go to the 3 votes as well.
So this is an intellectual platform. This is not Virginia County where we counting vote and what have you. This is an intellectual platform. We must be allowed to express ourselves freely.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah, that's how we express ourselves freely yesterday, when we are expressing ourselves freely today. Now 3-4, and I'm going to get a 3 vote from you guys, and potentially, depending the outcome of that vote, I will be breaking the tie.
Yeah, so, you bringing it. What tie you bringing? Independent tie, you call it? I beg you. Yeah. Let me make my point to
Hold on.
Mr. So,
can I make my point to Sister Goya and Dr.
What time? What time?
What time you
let him play his cassette. He keeps saying I play his cassette. Let him play it.
You want to play a cassette?
No, seriously, they may not be look when you're hosting a transit conversation. He just said the time. You look at the clock. Oh, the time for spent.
I'm a guy.
My coach keeps saying I play a tape. Let Pato play a tape.
Let me
address. Hold on, Mr. Toe. Hold on. We can't allow people to have their.
And the same word the devil can be using to the people there. Hold on. My phone running on a corner. Hold on.
Yeah. I doesn't want to hear it. My phone is still charged, but we can't allow people to have their way done. It is an institution. 3 are voted. We got to give chance to the other 3, and let's see the outcome.
This is not Liberian House of Representatives.
Terry, have you made a last statement?
No, he hasn't.
No, not yet.
Jerry Bacon, have you made
he hasn't.
Statement?
No.
Jerry gone.
The Liberal Progressive, have you made a
Mr. So let me say this to these 2 gentlemen. I started here before when we started this show that I'm here tonight, and I'm not here because of Kumbaya. Let me say this to the 2 brothers. Folks, this is what I want to say to you. Sister, you come out here and talk about social whatever social connection or whatever it is, social whatever you call it. When we come back to your 2029, you're gonna deny us. We're gonna be social business. The president and you, Dr. Malik, instead of you to say, then you say you keeping so agitated on my own man, it ain't happening. Let me just tell you this.
The show is over.
Mr. So, please, I'm on the floor. The president of the Republic of Liberia, the man who the Liberian people have to trust, and they know that he has the ability to lead us. And they elected him. He told the Liberian, you look at President Baka. Does he look at somebody that will lie? Hey, Mr. George, please. Mr. George, hold on, Mr. So. Do you look at President Baka as somebody that will lie? He said he will publish his assets. Why are you rushing to the point you're not calling the social contract? You think he's somebody that will break social contract? No, he's not. What he's not about to do is to certify the appetite that is being expressed here on Liberal Public Radio, as though Liberal Public Radio is some kind of code of law. This is, you can't come out here because you're running out of topic, Mr. So you can't bring it. And what's about the asset declaration? Asset declaration, we're fine. President Bakai, he's leading young people, and he will do everything possible that these young people are successful.
Thank you so
much. Good night.
Have a good night. Have a good night. And Jerry, how was the show tonight?
Oh, great. I enjoyed the topic. Look, this is what we're
Jerry, you have something behind the hostel you want to express? We don't leave voices behind. Is there something you want to say?
No, yeah, Mr. So, thank you very much for allowing me to speak. And, I just wanted to add this there because, you see, Mr. Jerry brought up a very important topic that I never thought would go to this length. But I wanted to just read it shortly so we can understand what I was trying to drive at. So we cannot leave this platform without letting our audience to be informed with the reputable information required. Because we need to understand that female mutilation is domestic violence.
My God.
Now, let me show you something here. It says here that, and these are reports from the UN Women, UNFPA, UNDP, UNICEF, UNHCR. Consolidated report.
What year?
It was published by World Bank blog. You can go and check it out. World Bank blog.
You read it? I don't have my
The year is February 6, 2020.
Okay.
February 6, 2020.
Okay.
All right. On this index, it says that also the survey revealed that 4 in every 10 Liberians believe that women are too soft to be good leaders. Some of these trends find roots in cultural practices and beliefs defended on normalized by both men and women, and hence strongly linked to contextual gender norms. This is also illustrated by the fact that the SGBV is higher in rural areas where the score index found more fragility and higher victimhood. Many SGB is sexual-based violence. Survivors such as rape victims have to bear the trauma and shame in a society where cases of violence against women are most of the time compromised. It is worth noting that the assessment of the SGB in Liberia does not include female genital mutilation, FGM. It's considered okay. Anyway, let's forget about all this.
No, don't forget about it. Keep reading. Don't forget about it. Keep reading it.
No, wait now. Wait. Okay. Wait. If you allow me to read it, I will read it for you guys so you can be educated. So I'm educating you now.
Terry, that thing you read, that thing you're reading, it was written in Kabul, Afghanistan.
Oh, Afghanistan.
So don't hold your hat on it.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's Tabata. So let's leave it. But what I want to say, Mr. So, is this.
Besides that, this is the white man perception about the African culture. So
okay.
Let me tell you.
But then, we have enough time to dissect that survey.
No, Mr. So,
enough time to dissect that survey because I want to dig into that survey that you're reading. Because I got it right up here right now.
If I get time, we on the show. Then you say I get it. But where are you living? Where you got your degree from? Another way, man.
Mr. So, we have enough time to dig into that.
Where you got your degrray from to make man? Another way, man. Where are you living now?
We're way over time.
Why are we doing this to our country?
Hold on. Mr. So, we have enough time to dig into that survey because I want to point out all of the flaws in that. First thing, the survey, they didn't tell us what's the margin of error. Please tell us what's the margin of error on that survey.
What?
Tell us the margin of error on that survey.
There's no margin of error.
Tell us the margin of error on the survey.
I don't have it, but there's no margin of error there. They will not mention that.
Listen, what you guys need to understand, these are surveys.
The only thing you contradicting yourself at the end, it doesn't include SGV. But
who told you that? They're telling you the perception of the Liberian people does not want to include the FGM into
the. Just say the person does not want to.
Let me read it for you so you can understand. Because you're not allowing me to read it to conclude. That's what I'm telling you. That you're not.
I'm looking at that survey right here. And by the way, that survey, as a matter of fact, we came out. There's a lot of institutions, including Harvard, that came out that survey was biased. That the data first. It's in the Harvard Law Review. I want to say, do we have enough time to go into that survey? So we can.
I have enough time. You can have a special show and you bring me on it. We'll discuss it. Because the show is concluded now.
When people are telling there. We can run around and say, when you're not circumcised, you're not going to hell, you're not living God life. You can call your total here up, but when we talk about
scientifically, it has been proven.
There's no sense.
Give me a chance. Give me a chance.
Let me tell you something.
Hold on one second.
Let me tell you something. The medical review came out and said there is no benefit to male circumcision. No benefit whatsoever.
That's not true. That's not true.
So listen.
Scientifically, it has been proven. Anyway, Mr. So, I was giving my closing and they interrupted me. So I don't know, but it's
you were
okay.
not giving your closing.
Why was
you
doing?
closing and you said you wanted to say something. Now you
No, I was giving my closing. That's my closing. I never closed.
No. Everybody.
You saw me closing? None of us had closed. That was my closing.
No, but everybody.
You say what?
You did close.
Everybody.
No, you asked me a question. You said on Mr. Boyka. Was that a closing?
What are you doing?
Well, I didn't know that. If that was it, then I'm sorry.
No, hear me, I can tell you. These reports, most of it are biased. They are biased. I don't even.
Good night.
Okay.
Yeah, the good.
So we were not reading Women Boy again.
Read the women book because it's in everything the women.
Nobody saying don't read it. Look at the market.
But these are facts. These are not something. These are facts that we engage in. Scientifically, it has been proven that female mutilation is bad for women. And I'm a religious man. I have dealt with women who complete in a marriage for female mutilation. Then you telling me say that it's a biased report.
I'm asking you, when was that study published?
When you conduct a survey, there are things you look at. That is the reason you don't look at Fox News survey and you take it seriously because you look at biases. So before you start quoting surveys, look at the corresponding report and who had the survey. That's the question I'm asking.
I'm also looking at the reviews, comments. Okay, Aaron.
There's something more than the review.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. Okay. Oh boy. Okay, folks, that's how we're going to leave it. Sometimes it can get very interesting here on LPR, and that's what we do here. We challenge people, one another, not challenge, but we put test to our argument because we are on our obligations as well. Information that we provide to the general public, they are factual and they must be true, and there must be questions as well. On this note, folks, we're going to leave here this evening. By God's willing, we're going to be back here. Let's bring you this quick obituary announcement, and we'll be wrapping up right here, right on top of the hour. Thank you so much, and have a pleasant evening.
We want to interrupt this interlude of traditional song to bring you this obituary announcement from our obituary photo of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR-TV. Even though most people might have heard it by now, but with the deepest sadness and heaviest of hearts, we once again take this time to announce to the general public the passings of our friend, brother, father, and leader, Mr. Peter Rees Vincent, who passed away unexpectedly on Saturday, February 23, 2024. Mr. Rees Vincent, as he was commonly called, was the president of the Graduate Associations in America's Georgia chapter from 2010 until his death in 2024. Besides serving as the leader to the Grenadians in the state of Georgia, Mr. Vincent once served as the national president of the Niawut Development Associations in Americas Incorporated for 3 years. He led by the example with his intellect, generosity, humility, diligence, and creativity. Mr. Vincent was a true son of Granger County and a patriot who put his heart and soul into anything that has to do with his county. He will be greatly missed by all. We are therefore calling on all friends, family, loved ones, acquaintances, and anyone whose life has been touched by Reese Vincent to put our hands around his family during this time of difficulty. Any form of support to the family, especially financial, in honor of his great man and leader, will greatly welcome. All financial contributions should be sent to Ruth Alice Bamu. Cash app is 763-639-2294. Zelle 763-639-2294. This obituary announcement was brought into Liberia Public Radio by Mr. Michael Reeves, brothers of the deceased, on behalf of the family. We want to interrupt this interlude of music to bring you this obituary announcement from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio. Sunrise, January 27, 1958. Sunset, March 22nd, 2024. It is with great sadness that we announce the passing of our beloved father, husband, grandfather, brother, uncle, cousin Jerry Nentizia. This sudden event occurred on the morning of March 22nd, 2024, at his home in Ramsey, Minnesota, USA. He leaves to mourn his beloved wife, Lancourt Annette Urit Zia, his children, Geraldine Zia Adams, Ninety Talit Zia, Pa Zia, Florence Saliv, Bianca Zia, and Gerald Zia, his sibling Wasent Zia, Samuel Zia, Arnold Zia, Helinont Zia, his grandchildren Selenian Kotu, Emmett Adams, Jermaine Adams, Shawinant Adams, Amoyat Zia, and Iranian Zia, in addition to nieces, nephews, cousins, and in-law. He is predeceased by his parents, Bokos Zia and Ruth Zia of the Republic of Liberia, his brothers, Joseph Zia and Josiah Zia. The homegoing celebrations are planned for the weekend of April 26 and 27 in Minnesota, USA. This obituary announcement was brought into Liberia Public Radio by the widow of the deceased, Lancourt Annette Urit Zia, and children.
Okay, well, folks, that's how I'm going to end the night here this evening. So I want to thank you so much. I know sometimes it gets very, very heated here. And to the bereaved family, the late Jersey is my cousin, and we will be in Minnesota the weekend of April for his homegoing celebration, very decent. That traditional song that was playing, that's one of his favorite songs with Sam as a family, as an organization, and that's what he liked to display. Our prayers and thought goes out to the wife and children. And this April the 12th and 13th weekend, LPR-TV will be bringing you live homegoing celebrations of the late Vincent Reeve. Vincent Reeve is a young man. He served as a president of the Grand United Association chapters of the Georgia chapter. I remember we went for conventions. That was which year was that? I can't even remember. But he has served as chapter. He served as a president of his district organizations. He has done life. He passed in his homegoing. He's going to be laid to rest too. He's actually used to live in Georgia, but the body is in Baltimore, Maryland, and we will be there to bring you life happening as well. For the rest of the families outside of the USA, other parts of the world, to witness or watch his homegoing ceremony. We want to thank both families for allowing LPR to form part of his celebrations of his homegoing. And so, not just only to be sure if you have a conventions as an organization, as an institution, weddings, or whatever event that you want to showcases, you want people to watch your family members, other parts of the world, no matter where you are. If there's no way, we can find it. Let us know, call us, and tell. Definitely, we can. We have the ability to showcase that. It's going to be live streamed on our official Facebook page, YouTube. That image can also be uploaded onto our YouTube page. That's the number there, just in case you want to make a reservation, 682-433-8802. And you can reach out and we can initiate a conversation, be it here in the USA or inside Liberia. So thank you so much. And I believe Mr. Hayes did raise a point here of folks talking over one another. Hayes, Refer Hayes, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. Well, sometimes it get a little bit crazy. That's not usually what we do, but some of these controversial issue comes on the floor. That's not a justification. That shouldn't be done. So we will work on that. And I think we valued all of your comments and your time, most especially. The reason to turn into this sort of conversation, not that you don't have anything to do, but also to know what is going on, to be able to make an input as well. So we want to take note of that. We have all of the analysts to allow, we sing together, but we can't talk together. But again, we sincerely take responsibility, and hopefully next time we can do it better. But that's what happened when you see these people make a political pay. Each and everyone tries to defend his or her own alligator, and so it becomes a little bit dicey in that process. But thank you so much for bringing that to our attention and to all of our floor. Anyone that felt they were offended by that, we take responsibility as a network, and we shouldn't do that. That shouldn't happen. And we will initiate conversation behind the scene to allow people to speak their mind without interruptions. You can challenge them, but it must be done in a civil context. That's the core value of this network. We intend not to leave no one behind in national conversation. And we must also understand, as we put these things out, viewers, followers, they will have a different version in that it is about a sovereign country. It is not about our own personal lives. As long as it is not about your personal life, it's a public conversation. People are going to have a different side, and you must be able to have that tolerance to accommodate that. However, we can seek and ask all of the tough questions involved because we are on an obligation to provide clarity to our viewers and listeners. On this note, folks, we're going to draw down the curtain of this event. We went extremely over the time here, but sometimes it is why it is. We hope to take note of these and do much better. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening, and by God's willing, join the Liberal Progressive tomorrow. He will be here. Trust me, the Tabata will really open up tomorrow. Have a pleasant evening. Bye-bye.